the Air Force, the invasion of Balikpapan was on. The liberators were bombing the Japs there, and they said they wanted 50 to go to Tarakan in the Air Force infantry and 50 to go to Balikpapan. So my mate and I, instead of sitting around, we joined up to go on the invasion of Balikpapan. The second pioneers took us in from the barges and took us up the hill beyond the AIF. They were fighting the Japs all the way up, and they told us to keep back, that there was too much going on upstairs. So after a couple of days, we finally got down to a place called Mangar, and we were sent out doing guard work on all the main objects of the place, where we got into a scrap with the Japanese, 2 AD, we were called, and we got 8 Japs, and one got away at 4:30 in the morning with hand grenades mostly. I'm just hoping that I had a Tommy gun, that I didn't shoot any of them, but maybe I did, I don't know. But I was in it, and we got 8 and one got away. And of course, the funny part about that was I used to go to school at South Fitzroy, the bloke by the name of Mackay, big fella, and he was head of the commandos. And they'd been chasing these Japs for weeks in the bush, and they all come out of the bush with the big sprays on them, you know, camouflage. And he looked over and he saw me and he said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "We've been chasing them for 3 or 4 weeks," and he said, "Just go and knock them off," you know. And every time I'd go up on holidays south of Trox, he'd say, "Here comes that Jap fellow," you know. He used to embarrass me. Well, we got sick of sitting around up there, and the bloody mosquitoes, and wherever you went, up to your backside in mud. It never stopped raining there, you know. And all the airfields were pretty bad, you know. You could see the planes going this far and trying to take off. You know, it was a hell of a time for the pilots. But we just want to see some action, you know. We were in the landing there at Balikpapan, and we thought that we might see a bit of action when there was 50 of us together. But all of our fellas come home with no one killed. They all come home together after the war. No one was killed. When we pulled up there, the first day, they were strafing all along the shore with and throwing these flares over, and then bombing all the battleships along the front of us, and we were out behind them. And after 2 days, the AIF went in, and we were still out there. And I think it was the 2nd or 3rd day we went in behind them, and they were still fighting up the hill when we went in behind them. We lost a few pilots. It crashed. I think there was 6 altogether the whole time that I was with them. We lost about 6 pilots. When I was in Bankstown, where we performed, Flight Lieutenant Hill, he was in charge of the squadron. He'd just been made hero of the squadron, and he took over the squadron duties, and on Christmas Day they went out on target practice together, and they collided in mid-air, Flight Lieutenant Hill and another fella. I forget his name now, but he's buried at Rookwood Cemetery, the Rookwood Cemetery. They collided in midair, and Flight of Tender went into an orchard, and then the plane drove right into the ground, about a quarter way in, and he lost his life. And the other fellow got caught in the trees. He tried to jump out, and he got caught. He got killed too. And that was a sad time for 82 Squad, and we were just about to go to Darwin. And just before we went in the advance party that happened, and me being a truck driver with a licence, I had to take him out to find out what had happened out there. And it was very sad, very sad. He's a lovely bloke. We lost him. We had a very peaceful 3 months after the war there. I used to have to go, we were taken from our squadrons and put into an RSU compound in near the water, waiting to be transported home. We had to wait 3 months, and my duty was to drive up to the camp where the Japanese were prisoners of war. They're all Sea Marines, and a lot of women, Korean women, up there that were taken prisoner with them when we went into Borneo, and they were. I used to go up in the truck and get 20 of them, bring them down, put them to work around the areas and that. We used to watch them because they were very suicidal, and they would have knocked themselves off, you know. But we had to stay there and keep an eye on them, and when they finished work, I'd take them back up. And that went on for quite a few weeks. And then the LST came in and said, "You're all going home," and that was it. They were very, very severe people. They had one idea to die, and any chance they got, they were going to knock themselves off. But they had nothing to do it with because they had no guns, no nothing.
You didn't feel that they were happy that the war was over?
No, they wouldn't get up and shake your hand or anything like that. No chance of that. They were just disappointed they'd lost the war, and there's quite a few suicided there, you know, in the camps and that. A hell of a lot. The Gurkhas were looking after them there, and it was a very stressing time for them because they had to surrender, you know, and they never got over it, the Japanese. They would have died for their country, yeah, for sure.